Magic City, Sweet 16. Everybody up for tip-off.
One of these teams will face Duke in the Elite Eight on Sunday. Chloe Kitts and Christina Dalsey to jump it off. South Carolina controls it, and here we go.
It'll be interesting to see how, with this man-to-man defense, how many different defenses that Maryland will play to try to keep the ball out of the paint from South Carolina.
South Carolina is the best team in the nation when it comes to scoring paint points. They average 42.7 paint points a game. It would be the third straight year they've led the country in that category.
Now, the strength of Maryland is scoring off the bounce, especially this one right here. Sarah DiBiase.
Kelly Kubik went after the basketball. They call over and back, and a turnover puts the ball in the hands of South Carolina. This Gamecock crew, since their loss to UConn, total turnaround. Players have had accountability for themselves. They have won 9 straight games by an average of 25 points.
Well, you had Te-Hina Paopao, you had Chloe Kitts and Sanaya Fagan stand up in front of the team, apologize for their performance, and vow to do better.
And they have done better. South Carolina hasn't lost since. Kayleen Schmeichel, their leading scorer, that one rims out.
The points were hard to come by in that first game that we had today. Looking for some more offense in this one.
Chloe Kitts underneath. Yeah, in our first game here in Birmingham, Duke only scored 47 points, and Jeff Muir looked it up, our statistician. It is the first time in the tournament since the 2008 Final Four when Tennessee beat LSU that a team has scored 47 points and won.
Defense will help you to win championships. You can defend and rebound because sometimes those shots just don't fall.
Sarah Tibiasu. Dalsey with the spin, but no finish. Te-Hina Paopao pushing, and she'll weave around the lane. Over to Chloe Kitts. Just driving by for the bucket. Back-to-back buckets for Chloe Kitts.
Well, and the connection from Te-Hina Paopao. If you move, the ball will find you.
Chloe told us she feels so confident and calm when Te-Hina Paopao is on the floor with her.
Well, because you see, it's like an air. When you're around Te-Hina Paopao, a lot of confidence, a lot of goodness. Yeah, when she came to South Carolina, she wanted to be a part of the family. It's part of her culture, and she's just carried that over into Columbia.
There's Paopao looking for Fagan, can't get it inside. Bree Hall back to Kitts.
Fagan is really working inside. Chloe Kitts wanted to get her a touch.
Bree Hall is going to shoot the three. Raven Johnson underneath the basket. And Christina Dalsey comes out with the rebound. Cheyenne Sellers, Dalsey.
I'm keeping an eye on Bree Hall, number 23 in white, not on the offensive end, but the defensive end. Whoever she is matched up with, you can tell that's who South Carolina's getting to start.
Paopao, that one rattles out.
And Hall has the assignment of Cheyenne Sellers to start out.
And she has become the defensive stopper for South Carolina, and Sellers finally able to find a way around her. First points for Maryland.
And Cheyenne Sellers at 6'2", throughout her career at Maryland, she's played 1 through 4.
Five seconds for Kitts. Paopao. Short. Kayleen Schmeichel bringing it down the floor for Maryland. And a three-point play opportunity. first foul against Tahina Paopao. So with the first subs of the game, South Carolina brings its top 2 scorers into the ballgame. They come off the bench in freshman Joyce Edwards and the sophomore Mylasia Fulwiley.
South Carolina is like a cart. You go sit out in the car and you warm it up before you take off. And then when you have Edwards and Fulwiley in the game, that's when you put on the gas and you're ready to go.
Your analogies are top-notch, Coach.
Yeah, think about these things.
I know that you do. Fulwiley trying to avoid the turnover she does. Raven Johnson driving in. Kitts already crashing the glass early. 6 points, 5 rebounds for Chloe Kitts.
Chloe Kitts had a triple-double after that loss to Connecticut against Ole Miss, and she has not looked back.
The last 7 games averaging 14. And Mylasia Fulwiley knew where to find her. Chloe Kitts has 8 points here in the first quarter. All of South Carolina's points.
Keeping the pressure on defensively, especially at the top with Raven Johnson and Mylasia Fulwiley. That just turns up the heat.
And an over and back call on Maryland, the turnover. South Carolina up 4.
Pushing pace and looking for number 21, Chloe Kitts. She's gonna move, she's gonna make herself available. And Paopao, she knows how to find her right now. Gamecocks up 4.
Welcome back to Birmingham. Chloe Kitts having an afternoon with 8 points, all 8 for the Gamecocks, Shirley. And there's a little love and basketball going on in Columbia, South Carolina, as Chloe is dating a star for the men's team, Colin Murray-Boyle. She talks about the fact that they're there for each other in the workout room on bad days and also good days. That's the tote board on the left. You get a little mark every time you have a good game. Chloe said game over, though, since South Carolina men's team, the season's ended. Colin won. I don't know, ladies, their season's still going. I think she should get one for today, maybe one for the last game.
Yeah,
it's not her fault the men are out.
Why penalize, as you see her parents watching on, why penalize Chloe for her season going on? Well, I think you should continue the challenge.
Well, she also said that Colin was the best player on his team, so he was racking up the
tallies.
The tallies were adding up real quick for him. She's playing with a whole lot of talent, especially when you look at the floor today.
She's trying to feed Joyce Edwards there, and Joyce has her shot touched by this Maryland defense. But Chloe Kitts, her change this year, getting in the weight room, the strength and conditioning, nutrition, that has made a big difference in her game as Allie Kubik hits for Maryland.
Well, and Allie Kubik she plays her best basketball when it gets to March in tournament time.
Averaging 17.5 points per game in the NCAA tournament.
Shooting 59% in the NCAA tournament.
Chloe Kitts is like, I got this, guys. 10 points. All of South Carolina's points have come from Kitts, and she's got 5 rebounds also. There's Tibiasu, guarded by Mylasia Fulwiley.
Well, Mayor McLean just kind of put her hands up. Maryland not sure what they were going to run.
Sailor Poffenbarger, the Arkansas transfer, driving in.
There's another power couple. It's on the floor. It's between these two, Tahina Paopao and Chloe Kitts. That connection has been lethal today for the Gamecocks to get this game started in the Sweet 16.
Sailor Poffenbarger is at the free throw line. She was fouled by Bree Hall. Poffenbarger starting her career at UConn, then Arkansas, and now back in her home state playing for Maryland. She grew up a Terrapins fan.
Let's go, Maryland!
And reconnected with Mir McLean, who also was at UConn at the same time. They're best friends. They live together.
Yeah, they're on the floor together right now, number 10 and number 6 in black for Maryland. Cheyenne Sellers feeding it around to Amir McLean.
And what Maryland's going to try to do is spread the floor and take South Carolina off the bounce.
Mylasia Fulwiley with the block.
I mean, that's how you've got to score against a tough defensive team, is try to get them in over-rotation.
Sellers guarded by Raven Johnson. Fulwiley comes out with it. And turned it over. This will be South Carolina basketball, last touch by Poffenbarger.
We talk about Mylasia Fulwiley and Joyce Edwards on the floor, but also Tessa Johnson. When the three of them are on the floor together, then they're outscoring opponents. This is plus 167 points in 206 minutes. So when the reserves come in for South Carolina, things turn up, especially when those three are on the floor.
Joyce Edwards, the Maryland bench, wanted a traveling violation on her. Kayleen Schmeichel. Stopped by Kitts, no foul. It's South Carolina ball. They say it's a clean block.
Well, but if it's blocked by Chloe Kitts, doesn't the ball go back to South Carolina? I mean, go back to Maryland?
Yeah. They're saying it hit off of her after that. Kitts has been the only offense for South Carolina. She's 5 for 6. The rest of the team 0 for 8. Until that moment, Mylasia Fulwiley.
Mylasia Fulwiley.
Looking out on the floor right now, the length at every position, though, I think is to the advantage of South Carolina.
Tibiasu shook off the defense. Offensive board for Poffenbarger. She immediately goes to Ali Kubik under the basket.
Ali Kubik.
Fulwiley for three.
It took Fulwiley a little bit to get settled in that Indiana game. Offense is coming together for her today, but to be on the floor for South Carolina, you got to defend.
Well, she only played 10 minutes in that Indiana game. Mira McLean with the bucket for the Terps. Now, the Indiana contest, a game where South Carolina's two top scorers didn't have their best nights. It was also a struggle for Joyce Edwards. Schmeichel up against Pow Pow. And that is the second foul on Tahina Pow Pow, who is such an important voice on the floor for South Carolina.
Well, this game is going back and forth. Got South Carolina and the spark of Mylasia Fulwiley coming in off the bench, but on the other end, it's Ali Kubik that is keeping the Terps in striking distance.
Schmeichel's first shot up and good. Kayleen Schmeichel playing in her first NCAA tournament of her career. She spent 2 seasons at Rutgers before transferring to Maryland this season.
Schmeichel is an instant bucket now. She can shoot the three. She can also create her own and get to that mid-range.
Brenda Freese told her when she was looking for her next home in the transfer portal, she said, we need you to be an efficient scorer. And she has worked on her shot. She's leading them in scoring with 18 points a game, shooting 45% from the field.
Yeah, watching, you talked about that Alabama game, Maryland, and when Schmeichel fouled out, I said, uh-oh. And I said that to the players, and they said, we didn't think that. They had a lot of confidence.
Fulwiley cutting through the lane like butter. Schmeichel with the triple. Cheyenne Sellers got it back. Feeding McLean. And one. Let's go, Maryland! She can tie it at the free throw line.
Cannot be lackadaisical with the basketball. Maryland will make you pay. They play like this. This is an opportunity for Maryland to tie it up.
Amir McLean. Can't tie it. Malaysia Fulwiley has the basketball. She's got South Carolina's last 7 points.
She said she likes the ball in her hands when the clock's cutting down to the end of the quarter.
I think Dawn Staley likes it too. Step back, in and out. But after 10 minutes, a 1-point ball game. Chris, will talk to Maryland head coach Brenda Fries when we come back. 10 minutes into our Sweet 16 game here in Birmingham, and Malaysia Fulwiley has scored the last 7 points for the Gamecocks. They're up by 1. Moments ago, Chris was able to talk to Maryland head coach Brenda Fries. This coach's interview brought to you by Symetra.
Coach, on the other end, Kitts and Fulwiley have all their points. What do you want to see defensively against them?
Yeah, well, they're matchup problems. We got to get Kitts off the glass, and she's so quick in the backcourt. So we got to do a better job defensively. I'm more concerned. It's a physical game. There's a lot of contact going on. So we've had to really battle to make this thing even.
What do you want to see out of Shy Sellers to get her going offensively?
For who?
For Shy.
Shy, I mean, again, they're doing a great job defensively. You got to keep battling. You got to be able to get to the rim and continue to be aggressive.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, let's take a look at today's player spotlight, brought to you by Hilton Garden Inn. And you heard Chris ask about Shy Sellers. She is the youngest of 4 sisters and comes from a very athletic background with her parents. Her dad, Brad Sellers, played for the Chicago Bulls. You see Michael Jordan there behind him, and her mom, Kim Sellers, is a fighter. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis back in 1992, and she is here in Birmingham watching Cheyenne Sellers play in the Sweet 16. And Chris, I know her mom has been such an inspiration for Shy and her siblings.
She is. Despite the fact all the history with her dad in the NBA, it was mom that really got her interested in basketball. She's been such a fighter. She's a local radio host. She has her own organization to help raise money for multiple sclerosis. And all of the sisters have the same tattoo, which is the motto for her organization that says, living strong, fighting strong until MS is gone.
Sellers just gets the shot off in time, but it will not fall. And Cheyenne Sellers has been such an important piece of the puzzle for Maryland on the floor.
And she said her mom's her biggest critic after ball games. She tells her what she did well or what she needs to do better. She really listens to her.
And she said that she's my biggest supporter and #1 hater. That's what she told us yesterday, direct quote. Michael. Oh, got tripped up and traveled. And Chris mentioned the tattoo that her and her siblings have, the slogan for her mom's foundation to fight MS, living strong, fighting long until MS is gone. And she said her mom, Kim, was the one that signed her up for rec ball. Her dad, Brad, in the stands too, but technically she was too young to play, but her mom signed her up anyway. It worked out.
It did. Well, you look at the size of Cheyenne. She's 6'2", and with her terrific guard skills.
And she gets the rebound, projected to be the 6th pick in this year's WNBA draft.
Because she's so efficient. Like I said, she shoots 47% from the floor, 41% from 3.
Dalsine misses. She's the first at Maryland with 1,500 points, 500 rebounds, and 500 assists.
There's been some great players that have come through Maryland. I was really shocked.
She just loves to pad a stat sheet.
That's it.
Sanaya Fagan underneath the basket, and she's going to be fouled by Ali Kubek. Her first, and that's the first foul committed by Maryland in this ball game.
Well, that's when Brenda Fries was talking to KB about how physical it was. It's been South Carolina that had been called for the fouls.
Yeah, right now, Tahina Paopao on the South Carolina bench. She's got 2 fouls. So Nia Fagan misses the first. Women's basketball Sweet 16 rolls on tonight on ESPN and the app, 7:30 Eastern, LSU against NC State. And then the night capped off by Ole Miss and UCLA. Both of those games will be played out in Spokane. For the women's tournament, 2 sites for regionals here in Birmingham and then Spokane, Washington.
The Wolfpack's going to have to find a way to keep Anissa Morrow off the glass. She is a walking double-double.
Traveling violation on Kubek. You know, everybody says that. They're like, we got to keep her off the glass. Has anyone done it?
No.
She's got 29 double-doubles.
No. She has a relentless approach to the game. If she wants a rebound, she goes and gets it.
Maddie McDaniel, the freshman point guard, in charge right now for South Carolina. Over to fellow freshman Joyce Edwards, who throws it away.
Yeah, Cheyenne Sellers is hesitating. Any player that clears out for South Carolina, their player stays in the paint, causing a lot of congestion inside. Maryland's going to have to, they're going to have to make shots against South Carolina.
Tibiasu, Saylor Poffenbarger. Kubek soaring in for the board. Sarah Tibiasu in and out. Tessa Johnson this time with the rebound. Hall can't get around Sellers.
See Joyce Edwards posting up against Allie Kubik. She's asking for it away from the basket, not commanding her space.
Rebound by Edwards. Tried to split the double team, but couldn't finish the bucket.
Well, Don Staley told us teams are now, they are scouting and have a plan for both Joyce Edwards and Malaysia Full-Wiley. Edwards really struggled against Indiana. Dawn said she was glad that the freshman went through that. That's the only way that you're going to learn, the experience and prepare for what teams are going to try to take away from you.
Joyce Edwards, 5.6 rebounds and 5 turnovers in the second round against Indiana. This is a player that's their leading scorer, averages 13 a game as Smeichel hits the first free throw.
You see Dawn Staley down there visiting with her freshman.
2 free throws in for Kayleen Smeichel.
And I like Dawn's approach because it's not, she didn't go down there and say, you need to do this, that. She'll have a conversation. What do you see? What is happening on the floor? And help players think through and figure it out for themselves.
Just off the fingertips of Kitts, Poffenbarger swipes it.
This is a big possession for Maryland. They need this one.
Tibiasu gives them what they need. She hit 5 threes against Alabama on Monday.
And nothing seemed to be going right for South Carolina. And when they're missing shots, that'll allow Maryland to get out in transition.
No gas, no breaks for Kayleen Smeichel.
Sarah Tibiasu, she can shoot it 45% from the three-point line. You can't give her that much space.
A big moment for Sarah Tibiasu this season was when Cheyenne Sellers went down with a knee sprain. She missed a couple of games, and Brenda Fries told us that's when Sarah really had to step up. Last time before that, she was trying to find her way on this team. She had spent 4 seasons at VCU, was trying to find her role, and it clicked when she had to do more because they didn't have Cheyenne Sellers.
When you're coming new to a team, you don't want to, you're used to scoring, you don't want to come in and give the appearance of ball hog or, you know, a shot seeker. But when you can shoot it like Sarah can, she found her spot, her rhythm, and she's been a big contributor for the Terps.
She was the player of the year in the conference in 2024 at VCU. This is her second NCAA tournament. She went in 2021 as a freshman with VCU. Said it feels a little bit different now that she's experienced.
Well, in the Big Ten, to be able to step in and contribute, like that conference is no joke. Remember, you got UCLA, USC that have joined the party.
And they had a record 12 teams make the tournament. 6-0 run for Maryland right now. Miriam Dowda with the offensive rebound, and free throws on the way.
You know, when you get to the Sweet 16, talk about the intensity picking up, the pressure picks up as well. I think that affected, especially that first game, the field goal percentage. You got to just settle in. You got to remind yourself, this is like the same games that you played to get here.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in today, we've already had one Sweet 16 game in the books. Duke beat North Carolina 47-38. That was not the halftime score. That is the score for the game.
Well, you had two defensive-minded teams in a rivalry game. We knew that was probably going to be a low-scoring contest.
So winner of this game will face Duke on Sunday on ABC.
Rotation on the hard edge of the ball screen. South Carolina's covering it.
Offensive foul against Amari DeBerry, who had just picked up her first foul on the other end, so that's 2.
And DeBerry's on the floor to balance out or counteract some of the height, the length that South Carolina has. But you got to defend without fouling.
Gamecocks with some foul trouble. Pow Pow's on the bench with 2. They haven't had a field goal since the 9-16 mark.
Oh, that was a good quick move by Dowda. She has improved so much from how we saw Dowda earlier in the season. She's now learned the system and developed confidence to attack the basket and not just rely on that three-point shot.
Chloe Kitts, 10 points in the first quarter, hasn't scored here, and that's an offensive foul against Miriam Dowda. Knotted at 22. South Carolina hasn't had a field goal in almost 4.5 minutes. Kelsey, ladies, thank you. We love a close ball game here. We were just talking about what adjustments do you want to see, Coach Peck, from South Carolina offensively? What have you noticed?
South Carolina, they're taking quick shots or ill-advised shots and forced shots, and then the post are not making, and I think that comes from the post not making themselves available.
It's going to be a foul against Chloe Kitts, her first. And that last time out, this was Dawn Staley challenging her team in the last huddle.
I think Dawn is talking about bad shots. I mean, that has been the Achilles heel. When they get into a routine of taking bad shots, that allows their opponents to then that's like an assist for them in transition. Because expected shots, you know when to go to rebound. When it's unexpected, you're all crashing and your opponents are headed the other direction.
Allie Kubek at the free throw line after she was fouled by Chloe Kitts. Tahina Paopao still on the South Carolina bench. She picked up 2 fouls in the first quarter.
We talked about Tahina Paopao's voice. Well, she can only say so much from the bench. On the floor now, it's got to be Raven Johnson that's got to take over and run this team.
It's 25 in white for South Carolina. And Fulwiley, I think, was trying to get it to Kitts. It'll stay with the Gamecocks.
See, there's a little indecision there with Fulwiley because she's forced a few. Now it's, when I go in there, do I keep it myself or do I give it up? The best way to cure that, you just got to slow down.
Three seconds, Tessa Johnson. Smeichel up ahead for Maryland, pulls up at the elbow. Transition points.
Kayleen Smeichel with an opportunity, and she's open. Once she crosses half court, she is going to find an opportunity to score.
9 points for her, 5 of those from the free throw line. Fulwiley knew when it came out of her hand it wasn't going in, but Miriam Dowda boxed out.
Hey, Carolyn, you talked about the indecision from Phil Wiley. That was the last message from Don Staley during that timeout, was we have to get stops and be able to go down and score just so that we can feel good about what we're doing and be able to build some confidence.
Absolutely. Because when you're making mistakes, you're taking ill-advised shots, and then your opponent, Maryland's going down making shots. Maryland's building a lot of confidence right now in what they got going on.
Kubek calls bank. She has 8, 3 for 3 from the field. Meanwhile, South Carolina 1 for its last 9. Make it 1 for its last 10.
Allie Kubek, she gets the 3. I don't care if you bank it. It counts 3 either way you look at it. And when it comes tournament time, Kubek has just, she's brought it. You look at her numbers in the NCAA tournament, regular season 8, averaging 21, shooting 68%. Come on.
And she is loving the fact that she's getting to play at Maryland, Chris.
Yeah, as someone who spent the first 2 years at Towson, she said, I never thought that I'd be able to play in an NCAA tournament game, so why not give it my all when I'm here? She grew up a huge fan of the Terps, would go to their games, did not get recruited by them. But after 2 years, she was in the transfer portal. She's out shooting around one day. She looks at her phone, and it says, Maryland. She's like, huh. She opens it up and was almost astonished. She couldn't believe it. When she went on her visit, she committed on the spot.
And they are glad that she did. Sanaya Fagan is at the free throw line right now. DeBerry just picked up her 3rd. Kubek on the bench with 2.
Well, South Carolina against Indiana was down at the half. They want to repeat. They want to advance to at least to the Elite 8. They can't start digging themselves a hole and expecting to get out of it.
Tibiasu over to Cheyenne Sellers, who only has 1 made field goal today. 6 seconds, the spin away from Bree Hall, and Cheyenne Sellers with the finish. Swinging it to Tessa Johnson in the corner. Transition bucket for the Gamecocks.
But that's an expected shot. You know, make 2 passes to get it to your high percentage 3-point shooter.
Dulcie looking to get around Fagan. There's going to be a foul underneath. I think it's on Raven Johnson.
And Cheyenne Sellers, with her 6'2" frame, is able to get over and around Bree Hall. But in transition, making the extra pass. Bree Hall making the right decision to move the basketball. And Tessa Johnson knows that's her shot. And so she's able to pull the trigger and knock it down.
The foul was against Raven Johnson. Both teams are in the bonus, so any foul from here on out in the quarter will result in 2 free throws.
Maryland's really good from the free throw line. Shoot almost 77% from there as a team.
Cheyenne Sellers is really good at the free throw line. I mean, clutch free throws on Monday in the 2nd round. She was 9 for 9.
She took over in the 4th quarter and both overtimes, and how she orchestrated. And I like just watching how she was thinking on the floor, where the shots needed to come from, who she needed to get the ball to, and when it was her time.
And Maryland has put the ball in her hands right now. Tibiasu floater. South Carolina just 2 for its last 12. Fagan asking for it, she'll get it. Up against Poffenbarger. That's the aggressive, intentional Sanaya Fagan South Carolina wants to see.
Well, it started with the initial post-up. She established her position, got the basketball. Then once she got it, she commanded her space.
Poffenbarger front of the iron.
See, now you got Chloe Kitts looking to post up more. of a presence inside from the postgame.
Fitz scored the first 10 points for South Carolina, but hasn't scored in the second quarter.
Ooh, Cheyenne Sellers may have gotten away with a carry.
South Carolina ball, 39.5 seconds left in the half.
Hadn't seen this the whole first half. First time from Sanaya Fagan to really commanding and wanting the basketball. And then the crab dribble down to get inside, and then the reverse pivot. Reading the defense and going back to the outside. South Carolina needs more of that from number 20 in white.
Dawn Staley has brought in Tahina Paopao. She's been out most of this first half with foul trouble, but they want her to set up this offense. And an offensive foul against Tessa Johnson.
Yeah, now that Powell is going back on the defensive end, I'd take her back out. You don't want to risk her picking up her third.
And they will. Raven Johnson will replace her. It was the second foul whistled against Tessa Johnson of South Carolina.
Now, this is going to be a tough guard because Tibiasu, Schmeichel, and Sellers are all a threat as the clock runs down.
Schmeichel. I think Chloe Kitts got a piece of that.
Was it Kitts or Fagan?
Was it? Oh, it was Fagan.
That's Fagan. That may be the play that gets her going.
Maddie McDaniel subbing in for Tessa Johnson, who's got 2 fouls. Cheyenne Sellers to inbound, 6.9 in the half. Maryland up on the reigning national champions. That's on Fagan. Her second.
We heard Brenda Freeze tell KB about how physical it was. Did they call that on?
They called it on Sanaya Fagan.
It looked more like it was on Chloe Kitts.
So they sub in Dowda for her. Mir McLean coming back in for Maryland. Paopao, Tessa Johnson, Sanaya Fagan all with 2 fouls for South Carolina. DeBerry and Kubek have 2 fouls for Maryland.
Trying to make her miss. South Carolina may look for this sideline break.
Poffenbarger leaves it short.
Maryland's got 4 players back. And Dawn Staley's got full Wiley at the table.
Two-point lead for the Terps. South Carolina with 6.9 until the half. They like full Wiley in these situations. Dowda tried to tip it back in, but for the second game in a row, South Carolina trailing at the half. The last tournament with multiple halftime deficits was in 2017. They went on to win their first national championship, but Maryland leads by 2, and Shai Sellers is with Chris.
Your coach told me a bit ago about how physical this game has been. What kind of effort did it take on the defensive end in that first half?
You know, I think it took all of us. I mean, you know, they're a great rebounding team, so we have to put all 5 of us in the paint to make sure we get a box out. And I think, you know, we did a great job in 20 minutes, but we have 20 minutes more.
What will be most important when you guys come out of the locker room to start that second half?
Keep our intensity up, keep the pace of this game up. I mean, we're getting out and running, and that's what we love to do. And then we're doing a good job boxing out, so I think just continue to do that, and we'll be successful.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Maryland takes a 2-point lead into the locker room on the #1 seed and the reigning national champion, South Carolina. They're up 33-31 at the break. Back to the studio with Kelsey. Halftime here in Birmingham. One of these teams moving on to the Elite Eight, and Maryland is up on the reigning national champion, the South Carolina Gamecocks. We are on the right side of the bracket. here in Birmingham, Alabama. Duke, they already beat their rival North Carolina. They are into the Elite Eight and will play on Sunday, trying to figure out who they will face. Will it be South Carolina? Chloe Kitts scored their first 10 points in the first quarter. Or Maryland? Cheyenne Sellers filling up a stat sheet, 6 points, 5 rebounds, and a couple of assists. And the Terrapins lead at the half. Welcome back to Birmingham. Courtney Lau alongside Carolyn Peck. Takeaways from an interesting first 20 minutes. What do you think?
I think that South Carolina did not do a good job with shot selection. Only shot 25% in the second quarter, and Maryland was opportunistic. Anytime South Carolina took a bad shot, they were off to the races.
Let's take a look at today's game track. It's brought to you by Invesco QQQ. South Carolina, #1 in the nation in paint points. They averaged almost 43 a game, just 14 today. Allie Kubik has been great for Maryland.
She has been perfect from the floor. Yes, she banked in a 3, but listen, when it becomes tournament time, Allie Kubik, she really steps her game up.
Kaylin Schmeichel almost had a steal. Let's check in with Chris.
Dawn Staley told me coming out of halftime, she just wants better flow from her team on both ends. Says we're out of sync, we're fouling a lot, which is out of character for us. You mentioned the lack of paint points. She said, I got a big inside, I don't need them passing it off. Take it to the rim. We just need to simplify some things.
That's when South Carolina is at their best, when they attack the paint.
Paopao back on the floor, 2 seconds. She takes the shot. Tahina Paopao, one of the leaders, limited in the first half with foul trouble. And did you see Allie Kubik save that basketball and get it to her teammate?
She likes the postseason, Kubik does.
Tibiasu at the free throw line.
Maryland is playing with such confidence right now. Every shot that goes up, that bucket just keeps getting larger.
Remember, South Carolina, including this tournament, they're 18-1 in their last 4 NCAA tournaments. That record in jeopardy right now. Raven Johnson trying to step into the 3. Somehow that goes in.
It hit the back, that square that's at the back of the rim, and then came in. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah. Schmeichel shaking off Paopao.
See, Maryland's doing a good job of creating their own shot. South Carolina doesn't need to fall in love with that. Their money is in the paint.
They go inside to Chloe Kitts, and Dalsey creates a jump ball. Possession arrow is pointing to the Terrapins.
Christina Dalsey transferred to Maryland from Villanova, and coming and adjusting to playing in the Big Ten, and now in the NCAA tournament, bringing her defensive presence.
Her personality has been such a welcomed addition. Had to go take the ball out, though.
I got to spend time with Dalsey at the 3x3 tryout. Talk about a player that's got tremendous energy. That's why she's a great 3x3 player, because of the energy. You have to have great stamina.
Well, you saw her energy and her personality before the season even started. At Big Ten Media Days, she was singing, I think it was Whitney Houston, into the microphone while she was up at the podium.
Come on.
Got a round of applause. Just being herself.
I just remember the Ohio State game when Sarah Tibiasu hit the jumper and Dalsey was on the bench. She ran out on the court, but there was still 1 second on the clock. She had to hurry and sprint back to the sideline. But she's just so enthusiastic about the game. You gotta love that.
Largest lead for Maryland as Cheyenne Sellers gets both free throws. She's 4 for 4. Remember, she was 9 for 9 from the free throw line in the second round.
Maryland's got to have 3 people in the paint at any given time.
Kitts trying to force it inside to Fagan. Instead, it's a turnover. Schmeichel up ahead. Dalsey. High up off the window for Christina Dalsey.
Maryland's just getting anything they want, and it's been a struggle offensively for South Carolina.
Bree Hall drops in a 3. That ends a 6-0 run by Maryland. Man, Cheyenne Sellers, she was just waiting for her moment to attack.
And then when she came in and across, that finish with the left hand, that's beautiful.
Projected to be the 6th pick in the WNBA draft. Tahina Paopao can't get past this Maryland defense.
The Maryland defense is so good. And when you look, they're going to have 3 people in the paint at a time. So that they're taking away anything that South Carolina is trying to get. Nothing is coming easy in the paint.
Solid defense for Maryland, and then offensively, they're 4 for 4 in the 3rd quarter.
The adjustment of the scouting report against Alabama, yes, they gave up 60 points in the paint, but what they want to do, run Alabama off the 3-point line. Well, against South Carolina, the scouting report changed. You cannot allow the ball to come inside.
Schmeichel, 4 seconds. Sellers. Still got a pretty solid shot off, even with Bree Hall in her face. Ball poked away as Raven Johnson pushed. It'll stay with South Carolina. Joyce Edwards checking back in for the Gamecocks.
You know, watching South Carolina, you just wait for that moment for the momentum to shift. Somebody hits a bucket or get a steal, and then they're off in the races. Maryland has stayed very composed and not allowed those moments to happen for South Carolina.
A lot of talk with this Maryland team has been being the best version of ourselves. That has been the message from Brenda Frese all season, and she felt like that was holding true right now in the tournament. They're playing as the best versions of themselves, and a traveling violation on Chloe Kitts. 11 turnovers for the Gamecocks, and Maryland has scored 11 points off of those turnovers.
Maryland has been the team up until this point that has played the most disciplined. They have not tried to do too much. They have played to their strengths. They have followed the scouting report. Right now, it looks to me like South Carolina is still trying to find that rhythm. Good patience by Tibiasu.
Now a mismatch. McLean slid the pivot foot. It's a travel.
Now that was discipline from South Carolina, not to panic when they got a mismatch, not trying to get out of whack. Stayed locked in defensively. Now can that focus transfer over to the offensive side?
They'll be looking for their first points off of turnovers today. Short corner, Tessa Johnson. Tibiasu by herself, top of the key. Off of South Carolina, it will stay with the Terps. Brenda Frese, the last 20 NCAA tournaments, she is one of 7 coaches with 3 or more wins against #1 seeds. Her Terrapins up on South Carolina, but the Gamecocks trying to push back.
Switch ball from side to side, get easy open looks.
Now for today's Need to Know, brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks. Chloe Kitts scored the first 10 points for South Carolina, but she hasn't scored since.
Well, she got a jumper and then in the paint, but in the second half, everything has been difficult. Putting length with Christina Dulce on her has made it a long night for Chloe Kitts so far in this second half.
10 points, 5 rebounds in the first quarter, has not scored, but does have 3 rebounds since then. Maryland with the basketball. They haven't scored in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Smeichel trying to change that, she will. Points for Kayleen Smeichel. She averages 18 a game.
The execution from Maryland has been very impressive today.
And Mylasia Full-Wiley's got a chance at a 3-point play.
Kayleen Smeichel on the wing with all the defense rising and understanding South Carolina is going to block shots. The shot fake, yeah, that works. But Mylasia Full-Wiley, so competitive, wants to carry South Carolina to the Elite Eight, trying to take the game over.
She's at the free throw line. She was fouled by Allie Kubek. That's Kubek's 3rd foul. 3-point play complete.
And I think that's why Brenda Freeze has Poffenbarger at the scores table.
Kubek has been so important for Maryland today and all tournament. Chloe Kitts, McLean tried to get there to pick her pocket, but not before the pass up to the freshman Joyce Edwards.
That may be that momentum play that shifts the tide for South Carolina.
A rebound leading to a transition bucket. Smeichel nowhere to go. Joyce Edwards saved it, falling down. Full-Wiley to Pow-Pow. Gamecocks running.
With 3:15 remaining in the third quarter, Maryland has a 30-second timeout. This becomes an official timeout.
7 straight for the Gamecocks. Maryland calls timeout.
South Carolina has finally taken the lead in the third quarter, and it's because of the pressure of the defense. They are covering for each other and finishing the defense with a rebound. What does that lead to for South Carolina? But out and running in transition. And then Full-Wiley dropping the dime to Pow-Pow. That's the South Carolina basketball that you have watched this season.
7-0 run over the last minute for the Gamecocks. They've hit their last 4 shots. Full-Wiley and Kitts in double figures. Brenda Freeze calls the timeout to try to slow down. How do you adjust if you're Maryland?
Well, with Maryland, you know that you have Sarah Tibiasu, who can get a bucket anytime, get the defense shifted like they did in the first half, get South Carolina over-rotated or drive to the basket and get to the free throw line.
Smeichel cutting the basket. Just patience to take her time through the double team of South Carolina.
Smeichel is so solid on her feet, good body control.
She has 15 points, 3 rebounds. Tibiasu. Uh-oh. Sidestep and 3. Tessa Johnson getting back the other way.
Mylasia Full-Wiley may feel like she's looking in the mirror because Sarah Tibiasu has got moves with the basketball and a threat from the three-point line.
Cheyenne Sellers. Rebound by Full-Wiley. No basket. Foul before the basket.
Sarah Tibiasu looking always an opportunity to take the cookies, and comes down. The step back for the three. It's the offense Maryland's looking for.
Schmeichel was just whistled for her first foul. Kitts off to the right. Hoffenberger. Oh, in and out. Joyce Edwards hit the deck hard. So did Mir McLean for Maryland.
Maryland's already used to a tough finish to the end after coming off that game against Alabama. They welcome it because Brenda Freese says ever since their national championship, overtime is our time. They like the close games.
No bucket. Foul happened before that, and it's against Cheyenne Sellers, her first. Maryland had a 2-point lead at the half. They've got a 2-point lead here in the third quarter, although we saw South Carolina retake the lead momentarily on a 7-0 run. One of these teams gets Duke in the Elite Eight on Sunday.
Fagan's posting a little stronger right now.
Back-to-back on Cheyenne Sellers, that's two.
But the execution, you can see it from South Carolina. Didn't come till late in this third quarter, but Dawn told KB she wanted to see more flow on both ends of the floor. You see it on the offensive end.
South Carolina looked out of sorts in the first half. A lot of playing one-on-one in the first half of basketball.
But Dawn has said in the SEC, they have seen all kinds of defenses, all kinds of offenses. That has helped prepare them for March.
Tied at 50. Foul before the basket. The third on Tessa Johnson.
Oh, missed opportunity for Maryland on that layup.
Hoffenberger tried to keep it. And a travel on Tessa Johnson. I think Dawn Staley challenging Joyce Edwards right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the freshman has played grown up all season long, but now that it's tournament time, expected play to go to another level.
That's 4 on Tessa Johnson.
Fouls on the Gamecocks, number 5, Tessa Johnson. That's her 4th personal. That's the 3rd team foul on the Gamecocks.
Yeah, the whistles have been frequent in this second half.
Sellers in and out. Full Wiley's got the board. Behind the back and the finish. Last shot of the quarter for Maryland. Tibiasu. And Fulwiley got the Gamecock fans on their feet with that bucket. Chris will talk to Dawn Staley when we come back. The Gamecocks up by by 2 with 10 minutes to go. South Carolina on a 13-5 run to end the quarter. And Malaysia Fulwiley with a little sparkle right at the end of the quarter.
Come on, man.
Moments ago, Don Staley spoke with Chris. Today's coach interview brought to you by Symetra.
Coach told me at half you told your players you wanted better flow. What kind of response have you seen from them?
It's better flow. I mean, sometimes it's just getting the right combination out there to get that flow or to force that flow. So we found one, and hopefully we can ride it until we get a big enough lead to maybe substitute a little bit better.
2-point game, 1 quarter left. What will it come down to?
I mean, it's about making plays. We got to go on the run. We got to get stops. We got to get scores. We got to play disciplined basketball. And we got to execute.
Thank you.
South Carolina has come back. They are up by just 2 points. Maryland had a 2-point lead at the half, and now 10 minutes to decide it.
Well, it's about halfway through the 3rd quarter. South Carolina turned up their defense. The biggest thing I noticed was defending ball screens. Pau came in, she set the example getting over. Then Malaysia Fulwiley, she buckled down defensively. That allowed South Carolina to get out and running.
Yeah, it's fueled their offense. South Carolina has hit 8 of its last 10 shots. Meanwhile, Maryland 0 for its last 6. Winner gets Duke in the Elite 8 on Sunday. Free throws for Fulwiley. That's against Kayleen Schmeichel, her second. See Duke scouting. They got a win over their rival North Carolina earlier today, 47-38. And Malaysia, this is the fifth straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. 7-0 run for South Carolina.
Ooh, how was that not an offensive foul? Kubik just ran over Joyce Edwards right there.
He did not call it. She's got 10 points, 4 for 4 from the field. And a travel on Mir McLean.
Allie Kubik driving and then took an extra hop. That could have been a travel almost. But it's not. If it's not called, play on.
Cheyenne Sellers. Stopped by Joyce Edwards. Fulwiley, full throttle. Her superpower is her speed, and she used it in transition. She's got 15 points. Took a hit to the face as she was coming down, but not looking towards the South Carolina bench. She wants to stay on the floor.
Fulwiley off and running, recognizing that she had the speed. I think it may have been incidental contact.
I think Delsey was just looking up at the basket for the basketball.
I don't think there was anything extra. Yeah, that incidental contact.
And I think they will pause to go look at this. It will be an official review. We step aside while they take a look at this last play. South Carolina up by 3.
After reviewing the previous play, contact was deemed incidental in nature. Play will resume with Maryland ball on the end line after the made basket by South Carolina.
So they just reviewed that last play, deemed it incidental contact, nothing to upgrade there. And Lisa Mattingly is our rules analyst. Lisa, what did you see?
I totally agree with the outcome of that review. It's just a basketball thing. She's just standing there, nothing unnecessary.
Yeah, so Christina Dalsey just looking up at the basket. They do take a look at it. Nothing to change. So just under 9 minutes to go in this game. It'll be Maryland basketball. Terps have led by as many as 7. South Carolina has led by as many as 5. One team goes to the Elite Eight to face Duke.
And Maryland has done a nice job out of timeout of clearing out and go to Alec Kubik.
And she's 5 for 5. Give her the basketball.
Kubik has had herself a day. She's got 12 points.
South Carolina's offense has been much better in the second half, shooting 64% compared to just 32% in the first half. Joyce Edwards relocates, but too much on it.
And that's the shot Maryland wanted South Carolina to have to take. A contested jump shot.
Kubik saved it from going out of bounds. Back to Tibiasu.
They got a mismatch here.
Schmeichel, tough shot around Fulwiley. And Fulwiley stripped to the basketball.
Alec Kubik is using her size and her strength and commanding her space in a terrific Cheyenne Sellers placement of the basketball leading to the score. And Cheyenne Sellers, quick hands on the defensive side.
I mean, you know what Brenda Fries called her yesterday in our meeting. Automatic alley.
Well, and she has been. When it comes NCAA tournament time, she is a bucket.
Fulwiley shot that over about 3 defenders. She has 17. Scored their last 7. Schmeichel with the response. Back to a 1-point game.
This game's going to go back and forth. Now, Maryland is a team that they can rely on just creating their shots and making jump shots. That's not a strength for South Carolina. Oh, stop and go.
Raven Johnson out with the basketball. I don't think that was the shot South Carolina was looking for.
Yeah, see, and a bad shot leads to an easy 2 for Maryland. Oh, Cheyenne Sellers blew it.
Got it back, though. And then she is fouled by Mylasia Fulwiley, her first.
Well, Fulwiley had just come down and made a fantastic move, finishing in the paint, finishing through contact. As difficult as shots come for South Carolina, you can't afford to take a bad shot. You don't need the hero moments right now. If you're trying to advance to the Elite Eight, you got to be disciplined with your shot selection.
Kubik and Kitts battling right now. 4 seconds. Dalsey. South Carolina gets the stop. Schmeichel, Pow, and Kitts end up on the floor, and it's going to be a foul against Kayleen Schmeichel, her third.
Team foul number 2.
Listen. Kit's a little lackadaisical with the basketball. When you come across half court, let your point guard come to you. Don't leave it out there for the defense to touch it.
Detail is so important when you make it this deep in the tournament. Tessa Johnson, catch and shoot, no. Foul on the floor.
I think they called it on Kubik.
They did, that's her 4th. Third team foul for Maryland. At 5 team fouls, it puts you in the bonus.
That's crucial for Maryland. I think Kubik is called for displacing Sanaya Fagan, pushing her under the basket.
She locked her elbow around her.
2-on-1.
Schmeichel out to Tibiasu. Has to go around Kitts, it doesn't matter. 2 for Tibiasu, she has 10. 3 in double figures for Maryland, back on top. 3 ties, 5 lead changes today. And a turnover in favor of the Terps.
Like Maryland, they're playing like the underdog. They're playing hungrier right now. South Carolina is on their heels, and Maryland, like they're feeling something. They want to shock the world.
We saw their resilience Monday night in the second round, survived 2 overtimes with Alabama to make it back to the Sweet 16 for the 17th time. Fagan with a block. Pow snuck to the corner.
See, Maryland's got 3 weapons from the perimeter on the floor. Sellers, Tibiasu, and Schmeichel.
South Carolina hasn't scored in 3 minutes. Sailor Poffenbarger did a nice job of boxing out Chloe Kitts.
Well, and Tessa Johnson takes that shot with a question mark. You can't shoot with a question mark. It's a 1-point game. You got to be for sure, and there was plenty of time on the shot clock.
Maryland will take a timeout. They will have 2 remaining. Maryland came out, they looked like the more comfortable team. They led by 2 at the half, and we saw that run from South Carolina. It was really their defense that got them back into the game, fueling their offense.
Well, how has South Carolina been able to score in running in transition, where Maryland, on the other hand, they got players that can create their own shots, and they've been able to do that at will. You've had Sellers be able to do it, Schmeichel and Tibiasu in breaking you down. And Maryland's going to be very patient in trying to get the mismatches they want. Now, they don't have Kubik on the game. Poffenbarger and Dulcie have to hold it down inside, but they're really going to put the pressure on South Carolina's defense.
Well, it's time for Get More, brought to you by Geico. So much at stake in this game. With a win today, Maryland will be their 3rd NCAA tournament win against the defending champion. For South Carolina, they would improve to 19-1 in the last 4 tournaments if they get a win today.
Now, South Carolina's got to take care of the basketball. Maryland has a little showing key by Chloe Kitts.
Her first points since the first quarter, when she scored the first 10 points of this game for South Carolina. She's got her 11th double-double of the season. Pow poked it away. Stays with the Terrapins.
Kitts is so competitive and coming down. Look, that was a hard show Euro step with the finish. She used the head fake and everything to make the defense stick.
She was the MVP of the SEC tournament. Poffenbarger got around her. Maryland retakes the lead.
South Carolina needs to look at attacking the basket. Maryland has 3 fouls, so 2 more, and South Carolina would be going to the free throw line.
Oh, Raven Johnson short and falls down. Oh, that looks scary.
Is that 5 on Kubik?
Yes. That is the 5th on Ali Kubik, who has had such a solid game for Maryland. –
5
12 points, 5 rebounds. She was 5 for 5 from the field, but she has fouled out of this game. How does that change things?
Well, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Hoffenbarger and Dulcie inside. She was the main offensive production in the paint for Maryland.
Raven Johnson off the mark. South Carolina has only scored 7 points in the fourth quarter. They're 1 for their last 9. And Dawn Staley will call timeout. She'll have 3 timeouts remaining. A 1-point ball game with 2:31 to go here in the Sweet 16. Well, tomorrow the Stars will be out once again. We'll get to see Paige Beckers, the Big East Player of the Year, and then Madison Booker, the SEC Player of the Year this season. She was the co-Big 12 Player of the Year last season. And Hannah Hidalgo, the Stars shining bright in this tournament.
This tournament is so fun to watch every single night. Tonight we're going to get to see Flajay Johnson and Isaiah James, LSU going against NC State. You've got Haley Van Lith of TCU that'll be taking on Hannah Hidalgo.
Right now, the reigning national champion, South Carolina, down by a point.
Well, look, and Maryland has four fouls, so one more. If South Carolina attacks the basket, they go to the free throw line.
They attack, no foul call, no problem. Malaysia Fulwiley gets the bucket. She has 19. And Sellers, offensive foul on Cheyenne Sellers, her third.
It's a big defensive play by Bree Hall. I think that inside arm, that push off there is what the officials saw to call the offensive foul. Here's a situation where South Carolina's got to think time and score. They don't need to be in a hurry, but they want to be disciplined in taking a good shot.
Chloe Kitts takes it in. Christina Dalsey fouls her. Her first. And Chloe Kitts will get her first free throws today. Kitts leading the Gamecocks, shooting 82% from the free throw line.
Now, think about this. South Carolina only has 1 foul in this quarter, so they still have 3 to give. They just don't want to foul shooters, players in the act of shooting.
One of 2 for Kitts, and it's a 2-point lead for South Carolina. Kitts has 13 and 11.
You got to take away the 3-point shot from DiBiase.
Hoffenbarger off.
South Carolina doesn't have to be in a hurry.
And we got an open lane to the basket. Fulwiley's going to take it, though. 4-point lead. She has 11 of the last 14 for South Carolina. Just the 4th time this season she's hit the 20-point mark.
The thing that Dawn Staley has said of Malaysia Fulwiley, make your layups. That'll add about 6 more to your total. When she sees a lane, It is impressive how she can split the defense and get to the finish.
Bree Hall was just whistled for her third foul.
1 minute remaining.
A minute to go. Traveling violation on Poffenbarger. So Maryland down 4 here, a minute to go. They already have 5 team fouls, so any foul puts South Carolina at the free throw line for 2 free throw attempts. When do you start fouling?
I think you've got a differential of 20 seconds of the shot clock. If you can get a stop right here and then attack, you don't have to foul yet.
Offensive foul against Tahina Paopao. Third on Paopao, so now Maryland's got 33.9, down by 4. Raven Johnson back in the game for the Gamecocks.
And I believe Brenda Freeze want to call a timeout and advance the basketball.
And I think she may have asked them to look at this.
This is an official review.
Then Brenda Freeze want to look at how much time is on the clock. And in the review, you get a little extra time too in the timeout to draw up and explain to your team what you're looking for.
So they put 36.5 on the clock. Maryland did use a timeout, so they can advance the basketball. They need 4 points. They have not scored in almost 3 minutes.
South Carolina still has a foul to give. So what Maryland needs to get the ball in, I would look for something quick in attacking the basket so you possibly get the and one and get an opportunity to shoot the free throw. For South Carolina, because you have a foul to give, if you can make them make a couple of passes and then make them have to inbound it again, then that would play to your advantage. But you don't want to foul anybody in the act of shooting.
Maryland 1 timeout, South Carolina's got 3.
And if there's anything for South Carolina you want to give up, it's the 2, not an open 3.
Oh, Raven Johnson tipped that ball. They rule it Maryland ball. They can go look at this to confirm possession, and they will.
An official review.
Well, because I wonder if it touched Smikle, who was still out of bounds.
Yeah, under 2 minutes in the game, they can
The
go back.
out-of-bounds call on the previous play is under review. The call on the floor is black ball.
So the original call was this is Maryland ball, so they have to have obvious evidence to overturn this.
See, if Smikle touched it and she was still out of bounds, it touched Smikle while she was standing out of bounds. That would be South Carolina ball.
Let's bring in Lisa Mattingly, our rules analyst. What are you seeing, Lisa?
I believe it hits the player that's out of bounds, but I don't have the angle of the official there, but it does look like it touches her, which would be white ball.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. That you look at the thumb of Kayleen Smikle. That looks like that would be South Carolina basketball.
Yeah, they do have to have enough evidence to see that to overturn it. It has to be indisputable because the original call on the floor was Maryland ball.
If it is South Carolina's ball, then I would assume that Dawn Staley would call a timeout and advance the basketball, get it as far away from Maryland's basketball, as far away from Maryland's basket as possible.
I think you can see right there.
Yeah, it touched her.
Oh, man.
Right there.
Yeah.
I think it touched it. And this is big with it being a 4-point game.
Raven Johnson was guarding the basketball. Schmeichel tried to inbound it. Raven tipped it, and the original call was that it would be Maryland basketball, but if the officials are able to see the looks that we're seeing, it looks like Schmeichel's fingertips move and touch that basketball.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me once the deflection from Raven Johnson and the ball went back out of bounds and hit the inbounder.
And our officiating team making sure that they see every possible angle so they get this call right. So important with 35.3 on the clock. Lisa, if they are seeing these looks, do you believe there's enough evidence to overturn this?
After review, we have clear and conclusive evidence that the ball touched black too while she was out of bounds. The call on the floor will be overturned. White ball.
So they were able to see it.
I agree with that decision, and also they would be looking to correct the time if any time ran off the clock, which it should have, because it was touched legally inbounds.
Okay, so 35 seconds is now showing on the clock. Lisa, they did just make that adjustment. Thank you so much. South Carolina calls timeout. They can advance the basketball. 35 seconds on the clock. If you're Maryland, how are you playing this? Down 4.
Well, now you're going to try to get a 5-second call to start with. Go for the steal. There have been times today that South Carolina has struggled to inbound the ball against Maryland. If that's the case, if Maryland is able to get it, you want to get it and you want to go straight to the basket, get a quick 2. If you're not able to get it and South Carolina is able to get the ball in bounds, then you want to look to foul. Now, when you're looking at free throw percentages, you would look at possibly fouling Raven Johnson. She shoots 65%. Ashlyn Watkins, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going down my sheet. I was looking at Sanaya Fagan, 79%. Pretty much everybody else shoots pretty well from the free throw line.
What's at stake here? Maryland looking for its 4th all-time win against a 1 seed. South Carolina is trying to get to a 5th straight Elite 8 and take one more step in to repeat as champions. They get it into Kitts, and she's immediately fouled by Mir McLean. And Chloe Kitts, their best free throw shooter at 82%. She'll have 2 free throws.
Now, Chloe Kitts is 1 for 2. She were to miss the second one for Maryland, rebound it and go quick. Use your quickness and go all the way to the basket because you only have 1 timeout left.
Chloe Kitts' dad cheering her on. For South Carolina.
Maryland's got to go quick.
Tibiasu got to have a bucket. Poffenberger looking for the triple. And South Carolina calls timeout. 25 seconds showing on the clock.
Sarah Tibiasu driving in, knowing Sailor Poffenbarger was going to circle around outside the three-point line and knock it down. And talking to Brenda Freeze, she said, we practice situations all the time. Talk about not just time and score, but situations where you've got this player that's got 4 fouls, or you have 3 players on the floor with 4 fouls, and this is how you've got to play. So these kids, these players are ready for the moment. Like she said, Brenda Freeze says, overtime is our time. She looks at pressure situations that her teams are so well prepared, there is no panic.
Both teams with 1 timeout remaining. Maryland's got to foul right away or no?
They have to foul right away now. But if they can get that steal, look, South Carolina, it took a little while to get the ball inbounds, so there has to be communication and awareness. If trouble underneath your own basket, you got to have flashers to the ball.
Amari DeBerry is on the ball.
Now you can play keep away, but you don't want to turn it over back there.
Michael fouls Bree Hall, who's a 68% free throw shooter. And that's the 4th against Kayleen Smichael.
Again, Maryland substituting offense, defense for offense. Hoffenbarger just hit a 3. Sarah Tibiasu is a 3-point shooter, and Brenda Freeze did signal. Get the rebound, or on a made free throw, timeout and advance it.
Bree Hall misses the first, her first free throws of the day. Bree Hall bounced it in. 4-point game with 21.6. Maryland uses its final timeout to advance the ball.
So it's a 2-possession ball game. Maryland's got to look at, and I would say a misdirection of sending the defense away and bringing a 3-point shooter back to you. You have options with Smichael, with Tibiasu, and also Poffenbarger in the game. And then rebound it. If you get if it's a miss and you get a rebound, then kick it back out. So you want it because you've got 3-point shooters that can knock down shots, and while the defense is scrambling right away. And then if South Carolina, Dawn Staley still has another timeout to advance the basketball.
This is a game where Maryland felt like they had the momentum for a lot of this ball game. South Carolina was trying to figure things out, especially in that first half. Gamecocks trailed by 2 at the break. Maryland has led by as many as 7 today, but here they find themselves down 4 with their season on the line and 21.6 seconds to decide it.
Yeah, this game has been like being on a roller coaster at Six Flags. You've gone up and down and up and down. The momentum has swung for both teams, and still, Maryland's not out of this.
2-possession game. Cheyenne Sellers will inbound. Maryland has no timeouts.
And South Carolina still has a foul to give.
They turn it over.
Poffenbarger goes right over to pick up Cheyenne Sellers. Not allow her to drop her head.
Fagan is fouled, but let's take you back to that inbounds and the turnover.
Just a miscommunication between Tibiasi and Sellers. It's the details when you get to this point in the tournament.
5 turnovers for Maryland in the last 2 minutes. Fagan drops in the first one.
You still can't count Maryland out with Brenda Freeze and her situation preparation. what I watched in that Alabama game, this ain't over till it's over.
They got to go fast, though. They don't have any timeouts. Taking a lot of time. 2 more points from Tibiasu. 11.5 showing on the clock. Back to a 4-point game. And there's a delay of game warning against Maryland. Dawn Staley's going to go ahead and use that final timeout. Advances the ball with 11.5 on the clock and a 4-point lead.
I think it's a good idea to get the ball from under Maryland's basket and at least advance it to half court.
Let's take a look at tonight's Capital One rewarding performance, and leading all scorers in this game. Mylasia Fulwiley's got 21.
And she just really turned it up in this second half, finding a way and a path to the lane to get finished. And when the game got tight and pressure was on, it was Fulwiley that had made, she came to eat for the Gamecocks in the Sweet 16.
14 of her 21 points coming in the second half, 6 of 8 from the field. She was a big reason South Carolina was able to retake the lead, and here they are up 4, trying to push towards Tampa. South Carolina is trying to be the first team to win back-to-back national titles since UConn won 4 in a row back in 2016.
The luxury that Dawn Staley has is she's got such depth, so many different weapons on her team, so she can try this player, and if that's not working, she can try this player. But eventually it seems like as this season has gone, and it's been somebody at the right time to step up, and today has been Mylasia Fulwiley.
A player who only played 10 minutes in the second round against Indiana. She has come in and righted the ship here today for South Carolina. You would anticipate that Maryland would foul right away, down by 4.
They have to. Yeah, they've got to foul.
Michael almost got that basketball from Mylasia Fulwiley.
Fulwiley that with the quickness to get there. You were talking about.
That's the 5th on Kayleen Schmeichel, the leading scorer from Maryland. Transferred in from Rutgers her junior season. So important.
She was instant offense and came into this Maryland program to be a scorer. And she gave everything that she could to this team.
Kumek fouled out earlier in this ball game, was perfect from the field today, 5 for 5. And the officials were talking about something. Fulwiley at the free throw line, 10.9 on the clock.
And Raven Johnson having a conversation with Sarah Tibiasu at the other end. I think great respect for each other.
Fulwiley's got 23. DeBerry with the bucket.
Well, South Carolina doesn't have any more timeouts.
Oh, there's a foul before. There's a foul before the game ends. Brenda Fries and Dawn Staley were already shaking hands, but the official put the fist up in the air, signaling the foul.
Yeah, Christina Dulce, I think, got the steal from Fulwiley, and Fulwiley fouled her.
The play is under review to determine if the foul occurred after the expiration of time on the game clock.
There's still time on the clock. But South Carolina had a foul to give. So it won't mean free throws.
But they only have 3 team fouls here in this fourth quarter.
The foul on white 12 occurred with 0.5 on the game clock. The game clock will be adjusted to 0.5, and the ball awarded to black underneath the end line.
So with 0.5, you can catch and shoot, but it's a 4-point game right now.
Yeah, the biggest thing that South Carolina needs to do is probably go to the other end. Because the last thing you want to do is foul a three-point shooter and she make it and then get to go to the free throw line.
South Carolina foul number 12 by Major Furlong, and that's her second on the team score.
Nobody touched it.
So the clock didn't start.
Someone has to touch the ball in order for the time to tick off the clock. South Carolina will take it. They are going back to the Elite Eight. 19-1 in the last 4 NCAA tournaments, and it was not easy today.
Well, it was Chloe Kitts that got off to a good start, but it was Mylasia Fulwiley that helped to seal the deal to get the victory. Now, South Carolina goes on to face Duke, who they've met earlier this year. That was an 11-point game. This Duke team is a very different team, and South Carolina has been challenged now twice on their road to the Elite Eight.
For this Maryland team, Cheyenne Sellers, Sarah Tibiasu, Christina Dalsey, such outstanding careers. They come to an end here in the Sweet 16. Gave it everything they had to try to take down the reigning champs. But South Carolina prevails behind 23 points from Mylasia Fulwiley, and she is with Chris.
I'm not quite sure if she can hear me. Congratulations. Hey, in a game with all these fouls, hard to find any sort of rhythm. How were you guys able to pull it out?
I think we just told each other that we just got to play together. We got to find our flow within our offense, and I think in the second quarter we kind of did that. We had great defense the whole game, but I think we just kind of had to match our offense with our defensivity.
You found that offense when it mattered down the stretch. So many of your points there. How were you able to find the openings to be able to give your team a lift?
You know, my teammates, they make sure I'm confident in knowing that I can go to the basket on anyone who's guarding me. So, you know, I just see one thing, and that's the basket. And it was working for me today, so I'm kind of proud of myself.
How would the adversity that you guys have gone through this season helped you in the NCAA tournament in moments like this?
You know, I'm just proud of us for sticking together. It isn't easy. We played in a hard conference, SEC, so, you know, we built for this. We're ready for this. We practice a lot. We practice hard, and we practice for these moments. You know, we cherish the moments, and we have to meet the moment, and I think we met the moment today.
Get a rematch against Duke, who you saw earlier this season. Any early thoughts on who you will see on Sunday for a chance to go to the Final Four?
Yeah, man, Duke, they're a really great team. We have a great team as well, so we just got to come out there and ready to play. Don't start the game how we started this game. We got to start better, and we'll be good, I feel like.
We'll see you then. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mylasia Fulwiley, 23 points, one away from tying her career high in this ball game. 9 of 17 from the field. She also had 5 rebounds, 3 assists on that stat line. And it will be the 1 and the 2 seeds meeting up on Sunday here in Birmingham in the Elite Eight, South Carolina and Duke.
All right, I'm looking out for a good one. You have this Duke team that is starting to click not only on the offensive end, defensive end, but offensively. And especially they have bench production, just like South Carolina. A lot of depth on both of these two teams.
Yeah, the top 2 teams in the nation when it comes to bench points. But today, South Carolina, it's a 20-point game from Mylasia Fulwiley, and the Gamecocks' run continues. South Carolina takes down Maryland 71-67. Let's get you to the studio. Elle Duncan, Drea Carter, and Shanae Agumake.